growth of the organizations. So that's all that we have the stalwart speaker, Sunil Deshmukh. He has been on the international forum. He has been work in India as well as at the international forums. Currently a chair of the IMA USA. We have a pride that Indian is chairing the one of the Indian is chairing the IMA, and that's the very uh, very heartfelt things what we feel that on this. With these few words, I'm back to the organizers.
Thank you very much, Paras Bhai. Indeed, it is our privilege to have Sunil Bhai with us today to share his insights. For a formal introduction of the speaker and the moderator, I invite committee member Kunjan Maru to please introduce the speaker and the moderator.
Hi everyone, good morning. So it's my absolute honor to welcome our speaker today, Mr. Sunil Deshmukh. With over 3 decades of global leadership experience across Asia, Africa, and Middle East, he is highly respected C-suite executive, leadership coach, strategy consultant, and the current global chair of the Institute of Management Accountants. Mr. Deshmukh has held senior roles at leading organizations such as McDonald's India, Foster's, and AM International Holdings. And now he also leads his own firm on leadership coaching and strategy. His journey reflects not only professional excellence, but also a deep passion for empowering individuals to lead with authenticity and confidence. His work beautifully aligns with our today's theme, Claim Your Spotlight, Visibility and Credit at Work. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Sunil Deshmukh and presenting him this e-certificate as our token of gratitude for his valuable time and insights. Thank you.
Sir, on behalf of CVOCA Association and all our members, we thank you for taking out the time to address us on this very important topic. Thank you very much, sir. Kunjan, if we could also go ahead with the introduction of the moderator.
Yes, Akash. So, for our today's session, the moderator will be Ms. Dharmi Dharod. She is a chartered accountant with over a decade of experience in the financial services industry. She began her career with A.H. Nagad and Associate, where she played a key role in building the firm's virtual CFO vertical, along with managing direct and indirect tax compliances. She transitioned to corporate world and joined Morgan Stanley Wealth Management Risk Team, a newly established function in India. In just 1.5 years, she was promoted to the designation of director and now leads a diverse team of financial professionals, engineers, and AI experts. Dharmi focuses on ensuring robust governance and risk frameworks across US-based front offices. She was recently honored with Morgan Stanley's prestigious Firm Value Award, and she also serves as subcommittee members of CVOCA Association. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Dharmi, and we will be presenting her with the certificate for moderating today's session.
Dharmi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dharmi
Thank
has,
you,
in this
Akash.
event, Dharmi has shouldered not only the responsibility of moderating, but she's been in conversation with Sunil sir over the structure, along with Paras Bhai and Vineet Bhai, and is instrumental in designing this event as well. So thank you very much. With
Thank
this,
you.
handing it over to the speaker for a short presentation. Sunil Bhai, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you very much, Paras, Kunjan, Vineet, Dharmi. Really appreciate. And I have a little bit of throat infection since last evening, so I may be drinking a lot of water in between. Please excuse me. And Paras bhai, happy birthday to you. And let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So what we will do, my intention is for first 10-15 minutes, we'll quickly run through what is visibility, what is spotlight, what is personal branding and all those things. And then obviously then we will have a discussion, Q&A and all those things, which Dharmi will coordinate. Okay. So what I'm trying to show here is the human visibility is a very, very important aspect. Visibility is basically you get noticed. Your personal brand ensures you are remembered for the right reason. So there's a difference between visibility and your personal branding, which we will see in a detail as we go further. And you would have seen many times, and this is a very classic thing, which I still remember when I first went into the corporate world, that you do a lot of hard work, but someone else gets credit for that, right? This is not today's world. There's a very famous book, Mood My Cheese. I'm not saying that it talks a little bit something about different, about the transformation and change management. But it is very common in a corporate world to not get noticed and not get promoted or not get fantastic work done by you. One is this very oftenly happens with the finance professionals. That's only my big concern. It happens with the finance professional, and that is why it is very, very relevant to all of us. So what is visibility? Also, visibility is about being seen, being heard, and being noticed. Seen, heard, and noticed in the spaces where your contribution, your values, and your voice matters. This is a very simple definition of visibility as far as the we are talking about the corporate visibility. Now, do people know I exist and understand what I bring to the table? That's the main question a visibility will answer you. Do I exist? Number one. Do people know that do I exist? And what is that value or what is that contribution I am bringing to? That's the most important aspect as far as the visibility is concerned. Visibility is generally or mostly situational. When I say situational, means in the meeting, in the social media, in the conference, whatever. So visibility is seen in a group of people, in a team of people, or in a conference, in a town hall, or something like that. Without visibility, even a high performance can go unnoticed. And I have multiple examples like that in my life. Initially as a finance professional, then me as a corporate leader, CEO, managing director. Very smart people, they are not able to present themselves properly and not getting noticed and not getting promoted. Now, what is personal branding? A personal branding is your intentional reputation. I am using the word here very carefully. It is intentional. It is not accidental. And if you know that, what is your intention to create a personal brand, you can create a brand. And of course, reputation is an important aspect as far as branding is concerned. And what does it mean? How you want to be perceived by the others within your organization, within your company, within your team, within your stakeholders. How do you want to be perceived? And that's where your brand does, based on your values, expertise, and personality. So branding revolves around three key areas. One is your values, and value system is very, very important. Your expertise, maybe you're a tax expert, maybe you're a sustainability expert, maybe you're an expert, and your personality. And we'll see later in part of the presentation why personality becomes so important as far as the personal branding is concerned. Personal branding answers the very important question, what do people associate with me? When people remember Sunil Deshmukh, what is that first thing comes to their mind? What is that association? That is what is the role of or a purpose of creating a personal branding. Personal branding is about authenticity, consistency, and clarity. Very, very important. Consistency and clarity is also very important. You cannot confuse the audience by creating multiple brands about yourself. You have to have authentic branding for yourself. It has to be consistent. And we are all finance professionals. We know the principle of consistency in accounting, right? So consistency in personal brand is also very. A strong personal brand is built through consistent actions, storytelling. I'm using the word here now, storytelling, and thought leadership. So three things. If you want to build your own personal brand, what you need is consistent actions. Whatever you do, do it consistently. Then tell a story of what you are doing to the public at large. And of course, you should have art of telling the story. It's not just telling the story, right? You should be able to persuade the people, convince the people, and create your own thought. We'll discuss what is thought leadership and all. So in short, I'm not going to read everything in the slide, but basically visibility puts your brand in front of others. And whereas I'm reading now from a personal branding side, your personal brand how people interpret your visibility. And personal branding are interrelated. Visibility comes first and branding comes later on. So this is the nutshell I just wanted to talk about from this slide. This is one area which I have personally seen in my decades of corporate life. Many corporate professionals forget about this. And let me tell you, there is a difference between emotional intelligence and executive presence. I'm not going to talk about emotional intelligence here. Why I brought this is that executive presence is the quality that enables professionals like you and me to project the confidence, credibility, and influence. And as you grow in the corporate ladder as a manager, as a general manager, as a CFO, as a director, managing director, or whatever, if you are not able to presence, it's a huge limitation. And I have seen multiple people failing down or not growing up in their corporate life because they do not have an executive presence. What does executive presence consist of? Executive presence includes communication, appearance, credibility, vision, empathy and inclusion, composure, and gravitas. I intentionally wanted to give a definition or details of because gravitas is building confidence under pressure. That's very important. If you are not able to project the confidence as an executive, as a leader, then there's a big problem. Emotional intelligence and self-regulation comes later. Before that comes a presence. And then, of course, you have to show you're a decisive person. You can take the decisions, you can walk the talk, and you can take the tough decisions. And during this process of decision making, you are poised, you are showing that you are confident. And that's what is all about the presence. Gravitas is not about, gravitas is about the impact. Now, there is a psychology behind all these things. And of course, I have studied psychology. So I thought just to bring a little bit of psychology here. Why we need a visibility? Because of we all as a human being, we want to be recognized, right? All of a young child or you're an old person or we all need a recognition. And that's a human psychology, human tendency. Our brain pays attention to what is repeated, what is relevant, and what is emotionally engaging. And there is very famous saying in Hindi, you know, that jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, right? Jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. So paying attention, what is repeated? Why those advertisements on IPL match or during the IPL match TV, you see those advertisements are repeated again and again and again. We get sometimes irritated, but there is a psychology behind that. By seeing those ads again and again, you will remember those ads and you will start engaging with them. The key psychological concept I just want to bring into your attention here is selective attention. Human beings focus out. When I go to, let's say, which person stands out to me? Nice clothes. Who is talking very nicely? Whose language is better than my language? So we always try to find out the differentiation. And that's where our psychology works. It is not neutrality. It is an if you are invisible, it does not, but it means people don't know you. You are absent from the scene. That's very strong statement, but I'm making that statement here. Invisibility is not neutrality. It's an absence. So you have to create visibility. Heuristic, the more often someone sees you, the more often they look at you, they see, and they start thinking that you are competent. Social proof, needs of belonging and esteem. You know Maslow's need theory. I don't want to get into that. Right from the basic needs all the way to the self-actualization need. In a personal branding also, there is a psychology, and personal branding influences how people interpret your visibility. So having a visibility is one thing, and how people interpret your visibility, that is done through your personal branding. And that's where this slide talks. It creates the mental shortcuts, and in psychology, we call it as a heuristics. When we create a mental shortcut in others' minds about who you are and what you stand for. Like I said, oh, I recognize this person. This person always writes very nice article in Economic Times, or he has questioned the Minister of India during the budget discussion. I remember that person, right? This is your top of mind. And this I'm talking about Mr. Paras Tawla. Paras writes beautiful articles in Economic Times. On LinkedIn, I remember he had questioned or asked right questions to the Finance Minister of India during the budget discussion. The mental shortcut. This is how we remember the people. Key psychological concept here is a theory called schema theory. Basically, we categorize people into the boxes. or a folders. Like a computer has got a hard disk to store everything, our brain also has got a folders. The way we store information, the knowledge, the recognition. And we classify people like a problem solver, or he's a very trustworthy person, he's a great connector. Like that, we remember the people. Then comes the impression and authenticity and trust. Trust is very, very important because it takes long time to create the trust, but trust can break within seconds. And there's a very famous Dutch saying that trust comes on the foot. Trust takes long time, and trust lives means it can run very faster. So creating trust, maintaining trust, ensuring that trust is maintained is very, very difficult and time consuming, but we need to do that if you want to create a personal brand. Always remember, performance is not equal to recognition. If you are a good performer, does not mean you are getting recognized. Those are the days gone when your performance will get noticed and by default people will come to you and request you or recommend you or gone. Your good quality seen must be shown. Visibility is about value advocacy. You have to advocate yourself. Don't take it as a self-promotion. Yeah, I'm not that type of person. I don't want to show off in front of the people. Here we are not talking about showing up. Here we are talking about advocacy. What values you are bringing in, what quality you are bringing in. Without visibility, your contributions may get unnoticed. And this is very likely to be happening among some of you in your corporate life, in your personal life also. Being good at work is not enough. Being seen being good is what leads to opportunity. Only doing good work is not enough. You should be seen that you're doing the good work. That's the key. Tools for visibility, networking. Of course, you have to have, and I always make this comment, your network is your net worth, but you have to create a networking. And do not network only when you, like we go and pray to the God. When my CA final examination is there, we go and request God, please clear my exam this time. But once exam is clear, then you forget the God. You, not you, general people. I'm not talking about you people. So you cannot do the networking when you need to be done. Networking is a continuous process and it's a lifelong process according to me. You cannot say that, oh, this 1 year I'm going to do networking. After that 10 years, I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't work like that. You have to also create your thought leadership, write your blogs, post, right? Simple act, share weekly learnings about what you are doing in your organization. Even small contribution also make you visible. Now, how do you get visibility? Or there is a methodology, or there is a framework of visibility called SPOT framework, where S stands for share your work. Whatever work you are doing, you have to share with someone. How do you share? By way of writing, by way of storytelling, by way of interwater-cooler conversations. Position your brand clearly means create your personal brand, and you have to position your brand. Why are you creating that brand? How it is going to help you in longer term. Own your impact. What impact you are creating by doing all these things, you should know that very well. That people are listening to you now, people are inviting to you now, people are sort of coming to you for asking for suggestions. Hey, Sunil, you know this very good. Can you help us into this? That's impact. And track the value. Very, very important. And we are all finance professionals. Audit, what is the guarantee the books are being maintained? So track your value. So repeat the process continuously and ensure that your SPOT methodology is working. Impression management is the one area which a lot of people forget nowadays, unfortunately. But what I personally think that if you want to be visible, it is also important. Personality. What is your attire? What type of clothes you are wearing? What is your right attitude? What is your eye contact? Mannerism, asking question, etc. So closing reflections, you were to be invisible. You were born to make an impact. Take one visibility action this week if you think that really you need a visibility. You were born to be seen and heard and recognized. You were not born to not to be seen or not heard. Tell people that who you are, what you are doing. And do the storytelling. Storytelling important skill in the world today, or even in past it was, but now it has become very, very important. So with this, I think this is just closing remarks. This is my personal remark. Talent is worthless without visibility. You might be talented, but if you do not have visibility, no one. So thank you very much. I will stop here. This was a quick round of a presentation. This is my QR code of my LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, please connect me on LinkedIn. And I will stop sharing. And Dharmi, over to you now. Yep.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, for deeping dive into the topic and sharing your insights. Would love to hear from you more, more on some of the real life situations which we have. Like we often assume that visibility equals engagement, but that's not always true, as you always mentioned in your slide. And we also see a lot of people who sat in the front rows but are often felt invisible. So, sir, according to you, what are your views on visibility? Is it about engagement or is it about recognition?
So great question, Dhami. And of course, visibility first means knowing or being present. It starts with that. But it's not the only thing. Visibility is a process. You have to start somewhere, but then that has to stretch all the way to be recognized. And if you are only creating a visibility and there is no recognition of that visibility is of no use. For example, let's say any IPL cricket player, if IPL cricket player, I'm intentionally taking IPL cricket player, let's say yesterday's match between Mumbai Indians and whatever other team was there, Rohit Sharma played the big game at the important match. Now, Rohit Sharma already has got a visibility. There was no problem for him for visibility. He has been captain, he has won the World Cup and whatever. But to get recognized, it's a continuous process and it's a consistency required. So play time when you are needed most, you go and play. That's recognition. So same applies to your own visibility. When the organization needs you, are you ready to take the extra?
Yeah.
To take the extra sort of pressure of the work? Are you ready to sit
Right.
back? That is what is recognition comes from. So visibility and recognition, being present is definitely a very important aspect of recognition, of visibility. But being recognized by doing meaningful contribution,
Yeah.
by solving the problems, that's very, very important as far as the recognition is concerned.
Got it. Got it. Right. So, so one of the techniques which like I or many of the people use is like by documenting your work. Maybe we have our internal websites where we have to put in our goals, what we achieved, and we can also document through our through emails and various other modes. So within the organization's frameworks and constraints, what are other techniques according to you which helps us in logging or showcasing our impact?
Yeah, that's if you want to showcase your impact, if you want to showcase your visibility, you have to use multiple channels. Documenting is, or journaling, whatever you want to call that, is only one knob and it's very old traditional way of doing the things.
Right.
In today's world, is the most important. How do you tell your story? And when I'm telling storytelling is an art, right? Not like just writing an article on LinkedIn and releasing my story. No. How do you tell your story? What work you have done? How you face that problem? How you overcome that problem? What helped you and what did not help you? How many times you failed in that storytelling or in that particular activity? That is very, very important. And you go to all stakeholders. And many people make a mistake that, oh, I'm in a finance department. My job is to only tell my department what am I doing.
Yeah.
If you want visibility, you have to cross the barriers, go beyond your comfort zone, go outside finance department. All stakeholders are very, very important. In addition to this, you have to take some projects or some extra work. What happens? I tend to take the work which is only in my department, which is easy,
Yeah.
which is known to me. Whereas in reality, if you want to create a visibility, you should go and work cross-functionally. Go to different teams, get the work done, help the people in other areas. So storytelling is very, very important, and consistency and continuity of all these things. There are multiple things you can do. You can do mentoring within the other department. You can mentor, get reverse mentored. We will talk more about mentoring. And you have to celebrate small wins. So these are some of the things I think one should do if you want to create a, in addition to documentation. Yeah.
So net, we need to get comfortable. We need to get comfortable in getting uncomfortable. You also covered, sir, networking as one of the important tool. your thoughts on thought leadership as visibility.
Yeah. So you need to decide at time when you are creating your own visibility, personal branding, how people will remember you, what they will remember you about. And that's where thought leadership comes in. And thought leadership is basically creating an expertise in some area, and not only creating an expertise, but telling that expertise, hey, I'm there and I'm an expert in this area. So you have to continuously build, you have to continuously do research, publish the articles, publish the LinkedIn blogs, do the storytelling. This is very, very important as far as thought leadership concerned. You have today the mediums like LinkedIn also, where you can build your thought leadership. In olden, when I came into the corporate world, I'm not saying I'm old, but then when there was no social media, imagine how difficult it was for me to create a thought leadership. So I have to go and teach in universities and colleges in the evening to create the thought leadership. Today it is comparatively easy. You can make use of social media. Leadership is a continuous process. Problem is thought leadership for 3 months and then they disappear. Then no one remembers you. Thought leadership is a consistent process. You have to keep on creating your experts, your knowledge, sharing your articles, sharing your blogs on a regular basis, and people recognizing you. Hey, in this area, let's say, oh, if you want sustainability, this person sustainability, let's go to him.
Right.
That's the recognition of thought leadership, and it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. So that's one of the way. And of course, networking, your network is your network. But what happens is we should always remember that networking is a sort of stress. It's not easy to network. You have to spend quality time. You have to ask right questions. Sometimes you have to spend money to go travel. But in today's world, you can also network through the social media. But once you get into that network, whatever your organization, CVOCA, CA, any other institute, you have to keep doing, can't break it down in between.
Right. So both networking and thought leadership are like a continuous process and nothing happens overnight. Right.
No, I would say it is a very long
Journey kind of
it's
thing.
a journey. If you think that I can do it in 1 year, a lot of people come to me and they said, sir, I want to do my networking. You tell me, where should I go? And people ask me, I do a lot of mentoring and coaching, right? People come and ask me, sir, you tell me 3 networks where I want to go and create my network. It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
It's a long process.
Right. So you rightly mentioned that jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, and that is what the world about now. So also in organization, there are teams or workplaces where showing up matters more than showing results. Attending meetings, though you are not solving problems, but you show up for all the meetings, you show up on all the calls, though it is not important. So people do consider that. So how to outshine in those workplaces or teams where outcomes are often overlooked over optics?
Yeah, unfortunately, the world is cruel. You have to balance all the time multiple things. Optics is also not present in the room. How can you create the impact? That's number one. So you have to be present, no doubt about that. Means you cannot say that I will not attend the meeting, but people will remember me and people will respect me. Very rarely. So optics, yes, you have to be present there. But when you are present there, how do you create an impact? Can you give a valuable contributions? Can you work in the team? How good you're a team player? How are you helping your other team members? Or how are you telling the story? Or sometimes you have to give credit to take the credit and you take a step back. All these types of things become very, very important if you want to overcome the optics aspect of that. But that doesn't mean that you don't just be present there. You have to do multiple things. And unfortunately, or fortunately, today we have a hybrid work and all those things. There are some limitations, there are some advantages. One need to weigh in what works and what does not work in my.
Right. So showing up does matters and creating your impact once you are in.
So just take an example, Dharmi. You're talking to me, you're asking question to me. Imagine I would have given you, so you would have called me and I would have given you my video. And instead of me talking, would it create an impact that what it is?
Yeah, obviously not.
Obviously not, because human beings have different multiple qualities, traits. They observe how I speak, how I talk, how many mistakes I make while making, how trustworthy I am. when you read my video or when you see my video, you may not be able to do all those things. So optics is really
Right.
also important.
So personal touch, personal connection does matters in a way.
Yes, it
Right.
does matter. And networking is all about personal touch.
Yeah. So that takes me to that leads me to another segue topic about COVID changes post COVID. So things are very different now after COVID. A lot of organizations have moved to hybrid work culture. Some organizations have been completely, I mean, 100% moved to work from home culture. And in such situations, employee engagement, cross team collaboration, etc. A lot of things gets impacted. So how much of a deviation would be there in your action points towards visibility in situations post COVID, changes in work structure?
Yeah, I know post-COVID, a lot of things have changed, and things have changed suddenly,
Yeah,
right? Without we being prepared to change, right? We were
right.
forced upon the change, right? We want to become bankrupt slowly or suddenly. So these things got changed suddenly. Now, what has happened is COVID or the hybrid working, typically what we are talking, the work from home or work from office or a hybrid mechanism, it has created a different mechanism of how do we work with each other as a team members. And what is one thing I require here is, or I would request here to all of you is, the hybrid working request requires you to be intentionally visible.
Yeah,
So you remember in personal branding, I said
right,
intention, but here I'm talking here in a visibility, I'm saying you have to be intentionally visible. Let's say I'm talking to you now and my video is switched off.
right.
Can you communicate with me properly?
No,
Right. So this is intentional visibility in a hybrid work era or hybrid network. So one is that. Second thing is over communication. When I say over,
yeah,
means excess communication. If you are not working physically and you are working on an online platform or mode or hybrid mode, you need
yeah,
to communicate a little more than what you are communicating.
right.
When you are physically present, you can go and sit in, go to his office, say hi
Yeah,
to him. You're creating the personal rapport. In not create a personal rapport. So you have to be sending the messages maybe through
right.
WhatsApp, through Zoom call or whatever. So that is another area. And visibility in the hybrid world is about presence and more about proactive connection. So how do I connect? Let's suppose in this call there are 20 people. What I did in my presentation, there was a slide saying my QR code of my LinkedIn, right? And I
Yeah,
said those who are interested, they can scan the QR code and connect to me. So I am proactively asking people to connect with me.
right.
All of them may not connect. So same applies to people in a hybrid work environment, that you have to proactively connect with the people within your organization,
Yeah,
within your department. Some people may not, you don't, you're in team and someone works in, let's say, Singapore. You
yeah,
met that person in past, but now virtually, can you connect a little bit more proactively to this demo? So that's
right.
the need of the hybrid work from home.
Great, great. So over communication and being proactive. You need to take little more efforts in hybrid scenario
Yeah.
in order to create visibility. That's really
Yeah.
a fair
And
point, sir.
just one thing, meeting, official meeting, always keep your video on.
Yeah, of course. That shows that you're interested and
Yes.
you are aligned with the topics and
Yeah.
team. Right. So it's a lot of important meetings often happen in organizations like, town halls, all hands meetings, and so on. And as you rightly mentioned, that a lot of finance professionals are like silent players. They don't speak up. They don't talk up more. They just think that their work will speak for themselves. So how do you ensure that your work is being called out, your achievements are being called out in such important meetings where a lot of senior management and stakeholders are involved, uh, considering the fact that you are a silent player?
Yeah, it's interesting. Town halls is one of the best thing to get visibility, but also to get noticed as a villain also sometimes, not always as a hero. So you have to be very careful in town halls. But town halls gives you a lot of opportunities to get a visibility very quickly amongst the lot of people or
Yeah,
big teams, right? Well, town halls are big. Two, three things. Of course, I used to conduct town halls when I was a CEO, but now I'm seeing from other side. Normally, town halls are prefixed, like let's say every quarter or every month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Subjects and topics are already prefixed. So if you know that, you do a little bit of research and do some work on that topic of that town hall. That's number one. Number two, you go and talk to your boss, who could be involved in town hall at a different level, maybe sitting along with the CEO on the stage, or all. Tell him that, hey, I have done this work on this. When you're in a town hall, if you want to use this, that's another
Right.
way of creating a convincing. Create a small, sorry, create a small questionnaire. You have to ask question. Asking the right question is a very, very important thing. So in a town hall, when you are present, you can ask the question. But very important is your question should be appropriate. It should be right
Yeah.
question at that point of time. And if you ask the right question, maybe you will get noticed, right?
Correct.
Oh, who is this guy who is asking this? When I say
Yeah.
right question, means question, it should be pertaining to thought leadership, it should be pertaining to company's growth, something like that, right? And
Yeah.
listening skills. In a town hall, you also need to listen what the people are talking. One is what the boss is talking, or the town hall, what the people around you, sitting around you, they are talking in the town hall. These are all combination of these things. But I have used town hall in my life very, very effectively to ask the right question.
Right.
And if you are able to ask the right question, it will create definitely visibility to you. And what happens, I'll tell you, next town hall, they look for you.
Yeah. Maybe
Where is
you'll be
that?
given
Where
some
is that guy?
opportunity. Yeah.
Exactly. So make use of those opportunities. This is a very simple way of creating a visibility in an intellectual manner.
Right. So being proactive again helps here. Before the town hall, going up to your managers, just giving a brief overview of what you have done, that helps. And of course, asking the right question, not just for the sake of asking, but
Yeah.
a meaningful question. Right. Sir, it's a era of competition again. There is a lot of competition around in corporate and everywhere. Um, so, in order to go up or in order to climb up the ladder, you have to compete with within your team, within your own colleagues, sometimes who are their friends, and so on. So, how do you be a team player to stand out from the rest of the crowd without being too aggressive? Because sometimes it may think that you are going away, you are going way beyond the things and trying to go up the ladder. So how to ensure that we are a team player as well as we are not coming across very aggressive?
Yeah. Working in teams is not easy, even though people talk, I'm a team player and all those things.
Yeah.
Because in a team, there are multiple people with multiple backgrounds, qualifications, experiences, personalities, value system, everything. Language maybe, culture maybe, right? So how do you gel in that is number one, very important.
Yeah.
The key rule, if you want to be
Hello.
successful in a team scenario, is that always remember, when you're working in teams, you will not get the recognition on day one. It takes time. If someone smarter than you in the team, someone you in the team, someone who is much better in the visibility point of view, who was already having a visibility and personality, brand, all those things. So you have to have patience in that, number one. Always ensure that you in team. Never look at that not contributing in the team. I mean, there are some in the team who don't do anything, right? If you are one of them, then you are not going to get recognized. So you have to have contribution into team. Be collaborative, be open-minded, right? And you may have some fantastic ideas, and sometimes what happens, we think, why should I tell this idea to someone else? It's my idea. Recognition, right? But when you're working in team, you have to do that. So be prepared for doing that. Listen carefully how team works. Do not get into the team politics.
Yeah.
Many times there is a team politics also happens. A team member, a new team member getting into team, don't get into the team politics. That's not your cup of tea. Leave it to someone else for that.
Yeah. It affects our reputation as well.
Yes, yes.
Got it. So now coming on the other side of the table, being an employee and being a manager for someone. So a lot of us are managers or would be a future manager. So how should we ensure that to be a good manager, our team members are motivated, heard, and they are visible? So for our teams, how should we ensure that the right people are getting the visibility?
Yeah, as a team manager, I would say our first responsibility is small wins. Whenever your team and you are the manager achieves something, it may be very small. Let's suppose you are implementing an ERP system, Oracle or SAP, and to implement an Oracle or SAP ERP system takes, let's say, 6 months. But you have achieved first milestone, one small success. Celebrate that with your team. As a manager, you need to motivate, you need to inspire your team members on a continuous basis. So one way to inspire and motivate is celebrate small wins. Second is give them some more opportunities, possibilities of them doing different work, right? People enjoy doing a challenging work, right? So as a manager, give some challenging work to the people. Hey, you're already doing this. Can you do this along with this, right?
Yeah.
People then appreciate people in the team. If someone has done a good job in the team, appreciate that person in the team sitting. But if you are not happy with someone, don't talk in public. Then you go one-on-one into your room and all those things. So that is another one. Then build a culture where everyone is allowed to speak. That's very, very important. Diversity, equality is all important. But if people in your team are not speaking, everyone is quiet, and you as a manager is only telling you, do this, you do this, do this. So giving an opportunity to people to speak up, and even agreeing to make a mistake, right? It needs a lot of courage and confidence that, hey, I made a mistake. But if you go and tell in the team that I made a mistake and your boss says it's okay, we'll handle that. Don't worry about that. So be confident to people, and that's what we call psychological safety in our behavioral language. Do I feel safe in my team? If I make a mistake, can I go and tell the mistakes? If I do a good job, can I go and tell the good job? So psychological safety is very, very important in a team, and manager's role becomes very, very important.
Right. So we need to create that environment where people are feeling safe to open up about their mistakes. And it is no one is getting fired to do a mistake, but if they don't if they keep hiding that mistakes, it can get a problem. It can turn into a big bubble. So maybe creating an environment where employees can open up about some mistakes if something goes wrong, that really helps. Right. So now that we all know that being just good at work isn't enough, and many of us also get feedback from our managers during our performance reviews and appraisals that you need to be visible. So if you have to think and if you have to amplify the types of visibility, a couple of things which we can quote is like credential visibility, which is your degrees, your certifications, your additional achievements in terms of your curriculum. That is very easy to be achieved. Like anyone can do some additional courses or qualifications and get certification and get that visibility. The second one, which is a bit tedious, is a networking visibility. Like, it matters that who knows you and talks about you matters more than what you know. So people often say that who you know is more important than what you know. So that is networking visibility, which you already mentioned. And the third is about thinking visibility. Like how much problems do you solve? How much impact do you create? Do you ask relevant questions, which we saw in town halls, as you mentioned? So people usually crack the first and second, that is credential and networking visibility. But the third one is a bit tedious. So what are your views on that? And do you suggest a small daily or a weekly activity or a habit that can improve in strategic visibility?
Yeah, sorry, it's a multiple layered question about thinking visibility first. So always remember that thinking visibility is about how you think, and it's not about what you know. People tend to show what I know, but thinking visibility is about how you think. So your boss knowing that if I have got a problem, I go to Sunil or I go to Dharmi, I know how Sunil will think or how Dharmi will think and how she will come to solve that problem. That's my, what I know is not already I have this certificate, I have that certificate, is of no use really technically, right? So in a thinking visibility, it's also important how insightful questions you ask to your or within your team. Ask question or asking the right question at the right time is also part of your thinking visibility. Your listening skills, there are 4 levels of listening. I don't want to get into a psychology here, but how do you listen? You listen for the sake of listening, or you listen to answer the question, or you listen to think, or you listen to connect the person. So what level of listening skills you have, that's also about thinking visibility. I'll tell you a small example. Sorry. So so there's an interview, my interview on YouTube. You may audience can look at that. So Marshall Goldsmith is the world's #1 coach, and their office interviewed me, I think 6 months back or 9 months back. And in that interview, I spoke about, it's a podcast, not interview, 40 minutes. In that interview, I spoke about the vulnerability of the coaches, how the coaches can make a mistake, and how me as a coach, as a super coach, leadership coach, whatever you want to call, how I made mistake and how I was vulnerable when I was coaching a particular client. Now, this is a thing. When I was giving this interview, the Marshall Goldsmith's office, the CEO, Brandon, who's the managing director of Marshall Goldsmith, he said, Sunil, why are you telling your failures? You should never tell your failures in a public domain. This is not going to help you. I said, Brandon, I don't care. I am telling to the world at large that how coaches are vulnerable. And that became so important and so big later on. And then, of course, I got a letter from them. I am the first person who is talking about the failure of coaches. So thinking visibility, you have to think out of box also. Not only that I should get a credit all the time and I should be seen all the time. It's not necessary that. One habit you asked, how to create a thinking visibility, and nowadays it's very easy for you. Write a blog or article on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is easily accessible.
Yeah.
But again, consider in 6 months, there is nothing, no one remembers you then.
Right.
You have to create the followers. You have to create a thought leadership. So you have to write every month article on the LinkedIn. So that's one way of doing it.
Got it. Got it, sir. So now that we know that visibility is very much important, and after being seen and visible for a considerable amount of time, we should start focusing on building our personal brand so that we don't have to struggle and go back to that process again of being visible. So according to Jeff Bezos, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So how do you ensure that people say good about you when you're not in the room?
And it's a process. That's what people do not understand. It's a process. It takes time. So visibility is one level of creating awareness about you. But personal branding is enduring, a longer term way of remembering you. How people do remember you. What are your characteristics? What is it authenticity? Is it your trust? Is it your thought leadership? So you have to create a personal brand around that. And what happens is that people forget that. They think once I have created a brand, now my job is done.
Yeah.
But brand, continuously you have to build the brand. You cannot say that now my job is done. And you know, for example, let's say Coca-Cola. They have created the world's largest.
Sir, I think you got stuck in between.
Maybe now?
Yeah, I mean, the network seems to be a bit unstable.
Yeah, can you just give me a minute?
Yeah,
I'll just check. I'll just change my network, maybe
sure.
1 minute. Give me just a minute. I'm just trying to go on the connected line.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's better now? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were talking about your brand, the Jeff Bezos statement of your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And this applies because when you build a brand, one is it's a longer term. Second thing, you also need to correct your pathways. So let's say you built a brand initially and then you realize, hey, now I have achieved this. I want to create a different persona now. Let's suppose you wanted to create a brand as a chief financial officer of a multinational company. But then later on, you realize after 5 years, I'm already a chief financial officer. Now I want to become a brand as a CEO or as a leadership material. You need to change your brand. You need to recorrect the pathways. Now, many people don't do that. Many people don't do that. And that's where what happens, like you'll see many people's websites, they are made by like 10 years back and there is no addition to that, right? There are multiple things like you can see behind. I have written a book recently. So this is one way of brand building also.
Right.
So you have to
Right.
do multiple things to create the brand around you. You have to do storytelling. You have to do thought leadership. You have to write articles. Then only people will remember you consistently. And
Got
of
it.
course, you have to create an impact also. It's not only paying money and creating your branding and advertising and your product is not good. Let's
Yeah.
say Pepsi or McDonald's product is not good, but branding is very good. People will not trust that brand after some time. So it's a
Right.
balancing act. You have to do both the things simultaneously.
Got it. Got it. So whenever we do anything for the first time, it takes a lot of time because there are no set ground rules. You have to do a lot of permutation and combination to check what works for you. So what are the key steps that anyone can take when they are building their brand for the first time? What actions did you take while creating your personal brand? Couple of which I remember or I know that you becoming the chairman of IMA. You're recently launching your book, Videsh Mukhi. So, what advice do you give to the employees who are in the start or mid of their career to create their personal brand for the first time?
Yeah. So first is clarity. You should be very, very clear. Why are you creating you as a brand? What is the purpose of creating your personal brand and how it is going to help you? And it's a process. Process means you have to talk to some people. You don't do everything yourself. Creating your brand is you need to ask like-minded people, your colleagues, your friends, your boss, and all those things. What do you think about me? And bring in that clarity, who you are and where you want to go
Right.
when you are creating the branding. That's number one. Second thing is, so once you have a clarity on what you want to do and where you want to go, second is authenticity and trust. How do you build authenticity and trust around you and your branding? Only having a nice advertisement on a TV or only having a nice advertisement in the newspaper or on a LinkedIn, but when reality it comes to the work, I don't care about anyone or I don't bother about the quality of my work. That's a huge
Yeah.
problem. So you will fail sharply. So then authenticity. Third is you look for value system. What values you want to show the public at large or to your target audience? What are your values? You write it down. Like
Right.
companies have values, individuals also have their own values, right? So you as a brand, what is your value system? And I always tell that this is where most of the employees in the organization have a conflict. The organizational values and individual values, if they are not aligned, then there's a
Yeah.
conflict and people leave the job because value
Correct.
system is different. So you should be very, very clear about your values. Second thing is then later on, you should start talking about yourself, about your brand through storytelling, through lectures, through whatever opportunities you have, and start small, but over a period of time, make it large, but do it consistently. And in this case, public speaking is very, very important.
Yeah.
If you want to build your personal brand, you should be a good storyteller and you should know how to speak in public. So these are some of the areas. Of course, creating a website, having a LinkedIn page, those are the basic things you still have to do.
Right. So employees can take up some opportunity of like presenting something in some topics or in some groups. So
Yeah.
with that, they can help themselves in creating their brand. Right. So, sir, you talked about your mistakes that you spoke about your mistakes in some of the channels. So, what are the common mistakes that one should avoid while building their personal brand?
Yeah, and there is nothing wrong in having, we are all human beings.
Yeah.
You are is a
Yeah.
human, there's nothing wrong in that. But we should recognize and respect that, yes, I made a mistake, there's nothing wrong in that. And I should respect that that agree that I made a mistake to someone else. People do inconsistencies in brand building. So for example, you say you're authentic, but your actions are not authentic.
Right.
So when you are building a brand, you say, I am authentic leader. But in reality, when you are working with the people or within the organization, authenticity is missing. So those are the mistakes people make. Then people make mistakes of seeking quick attention.
Right.
They think that I need to be seen by so many people. I need to be recognized by the people. So they do certain things to do that.
Correct.
Like, I don't want to give a bad example, but there are certain awards in film industry where you can pay the money and get the awards. And there was a big case study on that, you remember? So that's
Yeah.
a quick attention to show your brand that, hey, I am there. I am big man. I got the award. But that is not authenticity. So that is one. Ignoring feedback is a big problem. When you are building a brand, when you are building your visibility, you need to get a feedback from people, what they think about you. Because it is external. Other people will think about you, but what they are thinking if you do not know. And if you're not getting their feedback, then what's the use of that? Take a feedback on a regular basis, create that discipline and mechanism of taking the feedback on regular basis, let's say 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, work on that if you think there are mistakes in that, and then create your brand positioning. These are certain things. In addition to this, you need to also have a mentor or someone who will guide you what's working, what's not working. You may not be expert in everything.
Right. So your actions should align with what you say. That is one thing. And one should be receptive to the feedback and improvise on that. So these are the two core things which we should imbibe while creating, or we should take into consideration while creating our brand. Right. So this is the era of social media. Although people say that do not take things seriously on social media, but that is the easiest platform where you can demonstrate your achievement. So how can anyone leverage social media to sustain and enhance their personal brand, given that many organizations have restrictions or limitations on how much you can post on social media or what content you can post on social media? So what is your take on that?
Yeah, this is a great question. Sorry. Social media is a double-edged sword which cuts both ways. Okay. You should know which side you want to get cut.
Right.
So always remember that first is you classify social media into different buckets, which is your type of social media, which you would like to work with. Whether you want to work with, let's say, for example, Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, something else. You should be very clear which social media you're going to use for what purpose. Don't do everything everywhere. People do everything everywhere. And then I don't have followers in that particular social media because that is a different purpose social media. So don't do a generic. There are agencies who will tell you we will publish your article on every single social media, but there are no people reading that. So have that clarity. Be strategic. So when you use a social media, you should have a strategy that how many years, how many months, for example, let's say 1 year. 1 year I'm going to use LinkedIn. What do you want to do? I want to create a thought leadership. How do you want to create a thought leadership? I will write a research-based article every month, for example. So create that thought leadership based blogs, start writing every month, fix a date, fix the time when you will do it. When people respond to your thought leadership article, you have to respond to them. Many people just publish the article and then disappear come back after 3 months. No use. You have to be active on that. You have to tell people. And then you have to also give the feedback to the people that what is working, what is not working, and commenting thoughtfully. See, when you are on a social media, let's say you're on LinkedIn, someone else has written an article which is very relevant to you, which is your type of article. You have to give your comments on that. Only pushing a like button and giving an article, there's a difference in giving a comment, there's a difference in that. Many people say, I gave a like to you, I gave 2 likes, or no, you have to comment what you liked in that, or which are the specific point you made on that which worked in your favor. So you have to have a very systematic strategy of using the social media. I'll tell you my own example. I've been writing article on LinkedIn for last 5 years, maybe a little above. I've written more than 100 articles every month, one article. Never missed.
That's great.
And always, and they're not like 10-page article, 1.5 page, which is relevant. I wrote an article last month on how leaders need to think like diplomats because of the tariffs. And I got so many responses. Of course, I get responses, but I think you have to think out of box. How are you creating that awareness about you, about your thought leadership? You have to have a strategy. And don't use only one social media. You can use another social media, but don't confuse that. Putting your personal pictures, you went for a holiday to, let's say, Singapore, and putting on LinkedIn is of no use.
Right.
That's a professional, but people confuse that. People think
nowadays,
so you have to be careful on that. And then consistently use it. Do not get into the problematic comments. A lot of people talk politically, a lot of people talk unwanted things, use wrong types of wording while giving the comment. You have to be very, very careful. One small mistake can rebound you or create a huge problem to you. So very careful on social media.
Right. So that's a great thing. But we need to be present on social media and we have to leverage it to our benefit, considering we don't ruin our reputation as well as be seen. So, so many organizations nowadays have a lot of mentorship program in-house, which are formally conducted. so we can have a mentor-mentee relationship within the organizations as well as organically, like during the course of our work. So how much weightage do you give to mentorship or any coach while creating your visibility or personal brand?
These are two independent things. Having mentorship and having visibility, these are two independent. But of course,
Yeah,
a mentor can help you to give the visibility, no doubt. But I personally think that all of us should have a mentors. In olden days, we used to live in joint family. So obviously in
yeah,
joint family, you had multiple uncle, kaka, mama, someone who is talking to you, who is unknowingly your mentor, and you are getting
right.
guidance from them. In today's world, we don't live like that. We live in a small apartment where we and our family. So everyone needs a mentor. I have 5 mentors in last
Oh,
career, and I still look for a mentor for me, no doubt about it.
right,
Finding a mentor is a process. It's not like that you send it's not like going to that matchmaking site of matrimonial site, right? You go to mentor site and write a mail to him, मेरे को आपका mentor बनना है. You search for mentor. Make use of mentor for multiple things. Mentor can open your blind spots. All of us have blind spots, but we never know because they're our own blind spots. So a mentor is a person who will tell you, or who is likely to tell you, hey, you have a blind spot here. Why can't you do that? My entire life is changed by my mentors, and that's written in my book. I have publicly appreciated all my mentors, giving their names. And unfortunately, one of them is passed away now. But having a mentorship is very important. Now, how
right.
branding and mentorship can work together, or visibility and mentorship can work together. A good mentor will definitely tell you how to network. That's number one. Always remember, a mentor's network can become your network also, provided you take
Wow.
sufficient. If the mentor opens his or her network
Yeah,
and introduce you, so you are anyway getting visibility. And when you are going
right,
to a senior person or a respected person, and he is telling you, hey, you go and meet this person, give my name, my reference, authenticity is already there.
right,
So it helps you to create a visibility. A mentor will always put you to the right people, which you may not know, which there are some people who are never available on LinkedIn or social media, but they still exist, right? Now, when
right.
you want to create a network, you want to create a network of intellectual people, thought leaders, scientists, all these type of people. So you have to go and meet. I remember a few months back, I went and met Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar. Now, Raghunath Mashelkar is impossible to meet through LinkedIn or through social media.
Yeah,
But I had a mentor of mine, and I was sitting with him, and he said, hey, why don't you want to go? Why don't you go and meet Mashelkar? I said, wow, how can I meet Mashelkar? He said, no, I will recommend you to go and meet him. And he wrote a mail to him, and Mashelkar met me personally for 1 hour, one-on-one. Now,
right.
this is the power of a good mentor. Make
Yeah,
use of that. Make use of that. But have a right mentor, and always remember that finding a good mentor is not a speed dating. This is
yeah,
important. Speed dating is not a speed dating. It takes time. Take your time. Identify the right mentor. Give a commitment that you are ready to be
correct.
mentor, and then work on that.
Right. So just to give heads up to all the audiences, the CVOC Association also have a mentorship program uh, on board, so people can leverage that and make the most out of it. And so a lot of organizations also have mentorship in-house program where a lot of senior leaders are also on the panel of mentorship. So can we leverage that platform?
I would always suggest whatever is available to you, exhaust that completely. But don't only
Yeah,
depend on that.
right,
I
right.
always say that you need to have a multiple mentors. I'm not saying multiple means 10, 15, but a mentor within an organization is good, but you also need to have a mentor who is outside your organization.
Right.
Wherever you get a mentorship, organizational mentorship, make use of that. And always remember, there is a reverse mentoring is also possible. It's not necessary that I know everything. Let's say Dharmi is working today. She's a young chartered accountant. I passed like 30 years back. I also need to know what is happening in today's world in finance, let's say leadership. So you can reverse mentor me. Reverse mentoring is the
Yeah,
opposite way. The
right.
person with a lesser experience can, and this was
Yeah,
brought in by Jack Welch in the GE at that point of time, bottoms up and top down approach. So reverse mentoring is also possible.
right. Got it. Got it. So your journey is quite inspiring, and a lot of young people get to know a lot about you through your journey. So can you share your insights or your secret formula for from being transitioned to a CFO, being a finance professional, to a CEO, that is a general manager?
Yeah, there is no secret formula here. secret formula is hard work, hard work, hard work.
Yeah.
No, but
That-
so there are multiple things I'll tell you. One is how do you need to know, or you need to decide how do you want to grow. Do you want to grow vertical or do you want to go horizontal? That clarity has to come to you at a young age. If you are only growing vertically, it means in life you are not growing.
Right.
So I learned that very quickly, and I can tell you this example. I was working with one of the big multinational companies, McDonald's. So that was my last finance job really in Mumbai. And I realized that I'm no more enjoying those audits, those risk management, that Sarbanes-Oxley, and all those, with due respect,
Yeah.
they're all finance professional audits and this audit and that audit. I started thinking that where is my intellectual contribution happening here?
Right.
So I started growing horizontally there. I said, let me go and work in supply chain. Let me go and work in HR. Let me go and work in marketing. So that is one aspect, horizontal versus vertical growth, one need to understand. And being a finance professional, numbers is, people think that you're a finance man, you should know numbers and all those things. Yes, but that's not the only thing. When you run an organization, numbers come later on.
Yes,
Mostly
I do
it's
agree.
postmortem, right? So
Yeah.
it's a narratives. How do you create the business? How do you set up a plant? How do you sell the product? So those strategies and all those things, you need to start discussing, start thinking, studying. And what I've seen, most of the finance professionals typically, many of them introverted, they don't go horizontal. They just go like this. But you
Yeah.
need to learn new thing, what's happening in the world. And so basically, what I would say, if you really want to call it a success, a secret formula, I would say curiosity. Never kill your curiosity. If I have a
Yeah.
problem still, I will ask the question and people will laugh at me in the audience. I will allow them to laugh, but I will ask the question. My question might be useless question, but it's a question to me. So never kill your curiosity. That's number one. Number two, always have a courage to go and talk to people, ask people, meet people. Never get shied away that, no, he's a big guy. Why should I go and meet him? Everybody is human being. They also want people like you. And continuous learning. You have to learn continuously. Oh yes,
Yeah.
I am a chartered accountant. I am a cost accountant. Abhi mera ho gaya. So there's a famous book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Right?
Yeah.
What got you here won't get you there, by Marshall Goldsmith. So your degree was what got you there. That time you got an entry, okay. But now if you want to grow, you have to learn and go beyond your expertise. Means you are a finance expert, then definitely you should go beyond finance.
That's a great
Ultimately,
thing.
everything is people management.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So in spite of AI, everything, but if there is no people, there won't be no technology, nothing, because everything is finally run by people. So
Yep.
great thing, sir. So even if you are studied in a particular domain, but your interest align in certain other areas, then you need to definitely explore those areas. Maybe you could turn out to be best in that area. So that's
Yep.
a great thing. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I think we had a great discussion overall. A lot of personal experiences shared, a lot of answers to the general problems which people face in today's organizations. It was indeed a great, insightful session by you. So over to you, Akash.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dharmi. Indeed, we've had a wonderful session from Sunil sir. Sunil sir, inviting any more insights, anything you would like to just share with us, anything that possibly we may have missed out?
No, I think you have covered everything. Just one thing which I forgot to discuss during this, of course, was not related, but always remember humor is very important in your life. How to lighten your mood, how to lighten your stress, how to lighten your pressure. Humor plays a huge role. Never forget that humor can help you to go ahead in life. So
Yeah.
that is one area I use very, very well. Means I wanted to say that at the beginning you gave that certificate to me. I wanted to open with the saying that, but I didn't do that. I wanted to say that is that, oh, thanks God, you give me a certificate at the beginning. After listening to me for 1 year, you would have never given me that certificate. So that's the humor aspect, right? I use humor in board meetings. I use humor in America, everywhere. And of course, sometimes the cultural differences can create problems. I'm telling you, you have to be very careful with that. But use humor to lighten the mood, lighten the pressure, lighten the stress, and enjoy life. I mean, don't take too much stress of everything.
Indeed, very wise advice. So now we can open up the floor to the audience. If they have any questions, if people have questions on Zoom or on LinkedIn, we are active at both platforms, and we invite your questions for Sunil sir. You can put the questions up to the chat box here or on LinkedIn. So we have visibility at both ends. We invite your questions. Sir, so I'll just take this opportunity to ask a question of my own, if you permit.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got one question. We'll take that first.
Okay.
So, how can one respond to criticism or failure without losing their composure or presence? I'm assuming presence of mind.
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Akash?
Sir, how can one rather respond to criticism without losing their composure or presence of mind?
Yeah, great question. And that's what you remember. I was talking about the executive presence.
Right.
Now, your composure and your ability to stand still during the problem, during the pressure, or that's exactly executive presence. And when you, as a leader, as a corporate head, finance head, you have to show that composure. Criticism is a part and parcel of your life. Someone will always criticize you. Don't worry about that. But show your composure, and that's emotional intelligence, your ability to manage your emotions and emotions of people around you. Don't react, right? Think. When someone criticizes you, you have to think about that. Rather, before reacting, think for a minute and then react. This always helped me in my life.
Absolutely, sir. So another question we have is, someone is asking for what source material can be read. Any books you recommend on climbing the corporate ladder, with reference to visibility, obviously, but
there are multiple self-help books available in the world, and that's the highest selling books, self-help books or skills development book. I would say that there is no one single book I would recommend, but obviously you need to decide what you want to learn, where you want to go. Let's say you want to go on leadership side, then you should read the books on leadership. If you want to improve on your time management, then you should read the books on time management. So multiple books, and nowadays it's very easy. You can read on Kindle, you can bring on Amazon. I have written one book which I can tell you. The name of book it's not written by me. So I went to Oxford when I was CEO, and along with Oxford University professors, we have written one book. The name of book is called Mastering the Power of You as an individual, as a person. And in that book, we have written around 35 chapters. Each power we as a human being, what's the power we have? Let's say power of presentation, power of communication, power of strategy, whatever. And each chapter is written by experienced CEOs and CXOs. You can read that book, you can buy that book. It's a bit costly because it's published in London. In that book, I have written a full chapter, a research-based chapter based on experiences on a topic called Mastering the Power of Sense Making. And as a leader, you have to make sense, not common sense. And there's a difference between common sense and sense making. So that book could help you because there are around 35 different powers of people, experiences of CXOs, CEOs mentioned in that book. That could be one, but I'm just giving an example, but there are multiple other books.
right, sir. Dharmi, if you could take over the questions, I believe there are a couple more.
Sure. So I think one question we have, but we already covered it indirectly, like how introverts can take up, can build a brand without being performative. I think that we already took.
But yeah, I mean, don't see. First is you should know, are you really introvert or not?
Yeah.
Many people think they're introvert, but they are not introvert. So your ability or your score of introvertedness and extrovertedness should be known to you. That's number one. Second thing is you should also work with the people who can help you. And there is no harm. An introvert can definitely create his or her own brand. No one is stopping them. But the methodology, the approach will be a little bit different.
Okay. Another question from LinkedIn. In bigger organizations, it is easy to get stuck to your project or program or accounts. How do you build visibility across? Like you are mostly involved in your BAU work and you hardly get time to come out of that and do visibility intentionally, as you mentioned. So how to sort that issue?
Yeah, so you have to be very particular that you have to create this visibility. Number one. Number two, you have to be disciplined. Number three, you have to go across the departments. And I know it's a time commitment. You're busy in your own work. Attend the town halls, attend the parties, dinners, whatever is available in the organization. Don't say,
Yeah.
no, I'm not coming, I'm tired. Do that. In addition to that, I think storytelling is very, very important. People will recognize you over a period of time. Always remember that you do not remain in that box, which is your own department's box. The moment you remain in department's box, you are never seen as a visible in other departments. So you have to, how do you do that? Start helping people. Always remember that the knowledge finance professional has got, no one else in the organization has got. I'm
True.
telling you, what numbers you know, no one else knows those numbers. What numbers
Yeah.
you can interpret, they cannot interpret those numbers. So how can you help them a little bit? Hey, you are doing this project. Can I help you to reduce the cost by 10%? I'm just giving an example. So
Yeah.
finance professional has got that huge superiority, which we all forget. You are the only department other than CEO who knows every single number in the company. Is there anyone else? You tell me.
Yeah.
So make use of that, of course, not unofficially, but officially in a confidential manner. Interpret it and help them. I always used to do that. I will go to supply chain and say that, hey, why are you buying at such a high cost? Even for example, negotiating the payment terms from 30 days to let's say 90 days. It's a cost saving. And if simple
Yeah.
thing, you can go and convince your supply chain head or procurement head, I will help you by doing this thing, we are saving the cost. So give this small, tips to these people and they will start slowly accepting it.
Right. One very relevant question. Today's organizations are, bound to have corporate politics, and I believe wherever there are people, there's going to be politics. So you are involved in it, and you cannot be completely isolated out of it in order to be in the game. So how should be involved as well as not get affected uh, in that path through corporate politics?
So first general statement I make is, as far as possible, do not get involved into corporate politics. That's number one. But I agree, when you're working with an organization, with the team, it's very impossible, sometimes difficult. Don't get into extremes of the politics.
Yeah.
Don't start talking openly, he's bad, he's good, I am with him, I am with that, forming teams, forming groups and all those things. Never get into that. Remain a quiet and silent politician, if I want to say that. But I also make a statement, a very loud statement. If you want to make the politics in the organization, make the politics to become a CEO of the organization. That's the real politics. And I'm not saying I have done that, but you should know that how to do and what to do and all those things. So as far as possible, avoid. But once you reach a particular level in an organization, if you want to become a CEO, maybe you have to do politics, but that's a different level.
Yeah. Interesting, sir. All right, I think we are at the end of the session. We don't have any further questions. So over to you, Akash.
Thank you, Dharmi. Thank you, Sunil sir. We've had a really wonderful session. It falls upon the present task of vote of thanks. Luckily, I have the chance to present. So on behalf of CVOCA Association and everyone here, I thank Sunil sir for taking out the time out of his busy schedule and addressing our members over this much required and much relevant topic. It is indeed, sir, our great privilege to have you speak to us regarding how through our careers we can progress and make ourselves count. Although our work may be making us count, but make others count our work, if I may say so, and progress along. So thank you very much, sir. With this, also a couple of announcements. As we always say at every forum, we are an association of our members, so we invite our members to share ideas, especially the industry members, to share ideas with our team. What kind of things you want to be taken up, what kind of things interests are relevant, and we can surely arrange something on that count. One more announcement I have is that we have our AGM on the 14th of June. Messages are circulated over the groups. We have a live concert by Miss Indrani Bhattacharji. So inviting you for that as well. Please register on the links shared on the groups. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sunil sir. Thank you, Paras bhai. And thank you, Dharmi. And with this, we close today's session. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Sunil
much.
sir.
Thanks.
It was great interacting with you.
My pleasure.
Bye.
Audience can connect me on LinkedIn and ask me the question if they still have. Okay.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
nice session for.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.